The great hall of the Galactic Council fell silent as Ambassador Elena Vasquez walked toward the center platform. Her footsteps echoed against the curved walls that reached high above her head. 12 different alien species sat in their special seats. Looking down at the lone human woman below them, Elena wore her best blue uniform with the Earth symbol on her shoulder. She had worn it many times before when she came to speak for humanity. Today would be the last time. Prime Minister Vexhai of the Zealothi stood up from his tall chair. His purple skin looked darker than usual under the bright lights. His arms moved as he spoke in his deep voice. "We are here today to discuss the removal of humanity from the Galactic Council," Vexhai said. "This decision has been long coming. Humans have shown they cannot work well with civilized species." Elena stood straight and did not show any emotion on her face. She had expected this day for months. The signs had been clear. Fewer invitations to important meetings. Humans being left out of major decisions. Other species treating human workers badly and no one caring. Representative Thizes from the ancient Eridani spoke next. Her voice sounded like wind through metal. Humans are too violent, too unpredictable. They solve problems with fighting instead of thinking. The Korthax hive mind spoke through their chosen body. "We agree, humans disturb the peace. They ask too many questions. They change things that should stay the same." Elena listened as each species gave their reasons. The Lumina said humans were too emotional. The Aquari said humans could not understand proper order. The Vorthic said humans moved too fast and made others uncomfortable. One by one, they all spoke against humanity. Elena counted the votes in her head. She knew how this would end before it started. "Humans have served their purpose," said Minister Keth of the Draconic Assembly. "They are good workers, strong fighters, but they are not meant to sit at the same table as their betters." Elena felt a small anger grow in her chest, but she kept her face calm. These aliens had used human soldiers to fight their wars. They had used human engineers to fix their broken machines. They had used human doctors to heal their sick. But they had never treated humans as equals. "We have made our decision," Vexhai announced. "Humanity is removed from the Galactic Council. All human representatives must leave within 3 days. All human military forces will be dismissed. All human workers in Council space have 1 month to find new jobs or return to human territory." The other species began to clap and make their species sounds of approval. Elena waited for them to finish. "Do you have anything to say, Ambassador?" Vexhai asked. He sounded bored, like he was asking about the weather. Elena looked around the hall one more time. She thought about all the meetings she had attended here. All the times she had tried to make these species understand humans better. All the times humans had helped solve problems that no one else could fix. She thought about Dr. Sarah Chun, who had invented the new jump drive engines that made space travel faster for everyone. The Council had used her designs but never given her credit. She thought about Captain Jake Morrison, who had saved 3 Lumina trade ships from pirates last month. The Lumina had thanked him by cutting his pay. She thought about the thousands of human engineers working on alien space stations, keeping old systems running because they understood how to make different technologies work together. "Ambassador?" Vexhai said again, louder this time. Elena took a deep breath. "Humanity accepts the Council's decision," she said in a clear voice. "We withdraw from all galactic affairs immediately." Some of the aliens looked surprised. They had expected her to argue or beg or get angry. Minister Keth leaned forward in his seat. "That is all?" he asked. "That is all," Elena replied. She turned and walked toward the exit. Behind her, she heard confused whispers in many different alien languages. They had expected drama. They had expected humans to fight back like they always did. Elena pressed a small button on her uniform as she walked. The signal went out to every human in the galaxy. The message was simple: "Come home." She reached the doors of the council hall and stopped. Without turning around, she spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "In 72 hours, every human in council space will be gone. You will not see us again." The whispers behind her grew louder. Elena walked through the doors and they closed behind her with a soft sound. In the council hall, the aliens looked at each other with confusion. Representative Thizes felt something strange in her chest. It took her a moment to recognize the feeling as worry. Did she seem too calm to anyone else? Asked the Aquari delegate. Vex single quotes HA waved one of his hands. Humans always act strange when they lose. They will complain and make noise for a few weeks, then accept their place. But Thizes was not so sure. She had studied humans longer than most. She knew they did not give up easily. When humans became quiet, it usually meant they were planning something. On the transport ship back to human space, Elena sat in her quarters and opened her communication device. Messages were already coming in from human commanders, scientists, doctors, and workers across the galaxy. Understood. Pulling out now. Commander Morrison from the Outer Rim. Research data secured. Leaving tonight. Dr. Cheen from the Korthax Science Station. Medical staff ready for evacuation. Dr. Williams from the Lumina Hospital ships. Elena smiled for the first time in months. The council thought they were removing a problem. They had no idea what they were really doing. Humans had been the invisible force holding the galaxy together for decades. They fixed the problems other species could not solve. They fought the enemies other species could not face. They bridged the gaps between species that hated each other. And now they were all leaving. Elena opened a secure channel to Earth. Admiral Chun answered quickly. Elena, how did it go? As expected. We are officially expelled. Good. Operation Exodus is ready. Every human ship, station, and settlement has their orders. 72 hours? 72 hours, Elena confirmed, and after that? Elena looked out the window at the stars. After that, they learned what they lost. The communication ended. Elena began writing her final report as ambassador to the Galactic Council. She wrote about the years of working with alien species who saw humans as useful tools but never as partners. She wrote about the discoveries humans had made and shared freely, only to be ignored or stolen. She wrote about the wars humans had fought to protect alien worlds, only to be called violent and primitive. But mostly, she wrote about what was coming next. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had not just been workers and soldiers. They had been the problem solvers, the bridge builders, the protectors of things too dangerous for other species to handle. Soon, the Council would discover what the galaxy looked like without humans to hold it together. Elena finished her report and sent it to Earth's archives. Then she sat back and watched the stars as her ship carried her home. Behind her, the galaxy continued spinning, unaware that its most important species had just walked away forever. In 3 days, the silence would begin. Dr. Sarah Chung looked at her laboratory one last time. The Korthax research station had been her home for 8 years. She had built most of the equipment herself because the alien scientists could not understand how human technology worked with their systems. The jump drive prototype sat on the main table, glowing with soft blue light. Sarah had spent 3 years making it work. It could move ships twice as fast as any engine in the galaxy. The Korthax had planned to take credit for her work next month. Sarah smiled and pressed a few buttons on her control pad. The prototype powered down and went dark. She pulled out a small device and connected it to the main computer. Within seconds, all her research data was copying to the device. Dr. Chun? Came a voice behind her. She turned to see Vorthex, her Korthax assistant. His bug-like eyes looked confused. What are you doing? I am leaving, Sarah said simply. She continued copying her files. Leaving? But the project is almost finished. The Council will give us great honor for this work. Sarah finished copying and unplugged her device. The Council will give you honor, Vorthex. They made it clear that humans are not welcome anymore. But you cannot leave now. We need you. The other scientists do not understand your methods. Sarah picked up her personal items and put them in a small bag. Then you should have thought of that before voting to remove humans from the Council. She walked toward the door. Vorthex followed her, his forearms moving in panic. Wait, I did not vote for anything. I am just a scientist. Sarah stopped and looked at him. For a moment she felt sorry for Vortex. He had always treated her well, but the decision was made. I know, Vortex. But your leaders did. Good luck with your research. She left the laboratory. Behind her, Vortex stared at the dark prototype and realized he had no idea how to make it work. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out on hundreds of worlds and stations. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the UES Defender. His crew was busy packing their personal things. Outside the windows, 3 Lumina trade ships waited for escort through the dangerous Nebula Passage. "Commander," said his communications officer, Lieutenant Torres, "the Lumina captain is asking when we will begin escort duties." Jake looked at the alien ships. He had protected Lumina traders for 5 years. His ship had fought off pirates, space monsters, and worse things that lived in the dark between stars. The Lumina had paid him and his crew poorly, but Jake had done his job anyway. "Tell them we will not be providing escort today," Jake said. "Sir?" "We are going home, Lieutenant. All humans are going home." Torres smiled. She had not smiled in months. None of the crew had been happy working for species that treated them like servants. "Should we tell them about the Shadowkin pirates in Sector 7? Torres asked. Jake thought for a moment. The Shadowkin were a brutal species that attacked trade ships. Jake's intelligence network had discovered they were planning a big attack on Lumina ships next week. The information could save hundreds of lives. "No," Jake said finally. "They wanted to handle their own affairs. Let them handle their own affairs." Jake activated the ship's communication system. "Lumina Vessel Fortune's Dream, this is Commander Morrison. The UES Defender is ending its contract immediately. We will not be providing escort services. Safe travels." The Lumina captain's voice came through the speakers, high and musical but worried. "Commander, you cannot leave us here. The passage is too dangerous without protection." "Find another way," Jake replied. He cut the communication. The used Defender turned away from the Lumina ships and jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, the 3 trade vessels sat alone in space, afraid to enter the passage without human protection. On the mining world of Kepler 438b, Chief Engineer Maria Santos finished her shift at the Zealothi mining operation. She had kept the old fusion reactors running for 6 years. The Zealothi engineers could not understand the human-built systems that powered their minds. Maria walked to her supervisor's office. Supervisor Zexkai sat behind his metal desk, his purple skin dark with concentration as he read reports. "Supervisor," Maria said, "I am submitting my resignation." Zexkai looked up. "Resignation? Why? You are our best engineer." "All humans are leaving Council space. Orders from Earth." Zexkai stood up, his forearms spreading wide. "You cannot leave. The reactors will fail without you. Production will stop. Then you should learn how to fix them yourself." Maria placed her resignation letter on his desk. "I have left basic maintenance instructions on the main computer. They should keep things running for a few weeks." "A few weeks? What happens after that?" Maria shrugged. "That is not my problem anymore." She turned and walked out. Behind her, Zexkai stared at the resignation letter in panic. The mining operation produced rare metals needed for ship construction across 3 star systems. Without the reactors, everything would shut down. In the medical bay of Station Alpha 7, Dr. James Williams finished his last surgery. The Aquari patient would recover from his injuries, thanks to human medical techniques that worked better than traditional Aquari. Healing. Dr. Williams cleaned his hands and removed his surgical gear. Nurse Patricia Lee was already packing medical supplies into storage containers. "Are we taking the medical research?" Patricia asked. "All of it," Dr. Williams replied. "Every scan, every treatment, every breakthrough we have made here." "What? About the patients?" Dr. Williams looked through the window at the medical ward. Dozens of alien patients lay in beds, recovering from treatments that only human doctors knew how to perform. "We will stabilize everyone we can before we leave. After that, they are on their own," Patricia nodded sadly. She had saved many lives in this medical bay. But the council had made their choice. Chief Security Officer Robert. Kim sat in his office on Trade Station Omega. His computer screen showed security reports from across the station. Alien crime bosses were getting bolder. Smugglers were moving. More illegal goods. Pirates were planning attacks on merchant ships. Robert had been keeping all these criminal groups under control for years. His network of human security officers and informants covered the entire sector. Without them, crime would explode. Robert's assistant, a young Eridani named Veltar, knocked on his door. Chief Kim, there are reports of unusual criminal activity in sectors 12 and 15. Should we investigate? Robert leaned back in his chair. No, Veltar, we should not. But sir, if we do not stop them now, they will grow bolder. Yes, they will. Robert stood up and began packing his personal items. But that is no longer our problem. Veltar looked confused. I do not understand. All human security officers are leaving, Veltar. As of tomorrow, you aliens are responsible for your own safety, but we do not know how to do your job. We do not have your contacts or your methods. Robert stopped packing and looked at the young alien. Then you should have thought of that before your leaders decided humans were not good enough to sit at the council table. On Earth, Admiral Chun watched reports come in from across the galaxy. Every human ship, station, and settlement was following the evacuation plan perfectly. No arguments, no delays, no questions. His aide, Captain Morrison, brought him the latest numbers. 80% of human personnel have already left their posts, Morrison reported. The rest will be gone within 48 hours. Any problems? A few alien commanders have tried to stop their human workers from leaving. We had to send warships to evacuate them. Admiral Chun nodded. He had expected some aliens would try to keep humans by force when they realized what was happening. What about the special projects? All secured. Dr. Chin's jump drive research, the quantum barrier generators, the xenobiology databases, the tactical analysis networks. Everything is coming home. Admiral Chun smiled coldly. The aliens had no idea what they were losing. Humans had not just been workers and soldiers. They had been the ones who made the galaxy work. And the other projects? The ones the Council does not know about? Also secured? The Void Sector monitoring stations, the Devourer containment systems, the temporal anomaly research? All personnel are withdrawing. Admiral Chun's smile faded. Those projects were different. They were protecting the galaxy from threats that could destroy entire civilizations. Without humans watching and maintaining those systems, very bad things would soon happen, but the Council had made their choice. They wanted to rule the galaxy without human help. Soon they would learn what that really meant. Any word from Ambassador Vasquez? She is on her way home. She says the Council members looked confused when she accepted their decision so easily. They expected us to beg, Admiral Chun said. They thought we needed them more than they needed. Yes, do we tell them about the threats? The things they cannot handle without us? Admiral Chung was quiet for a long moment. Then he shook his head. No, they wanted to be independent. Let them be independent. Across the galaxy, the last human ships disappeared into hyperspace. Behind them, alien civilizations continued their daily lives, not yet understanding that their protectors had just abandoned them. The silence had begun. 2 years had passed since the last human ship left Council space. Prime Minister Vexhai sat in his office, looking at reports that made his purple skin turn pale. Everything was falling apart. The mining operation on Kepler 438b had shut down 6 months ago when the fusion reactors finally broke. No Zealothi engineer could fix them. The rare metals needed for ship construction were running out across 3 star systems. Trade Route 7, once the safest path through the Nebula Passage, was now called the Death Run. 15 Lumina ships had been destroyed by pirates in the last month. No one dared use the route anymore. Station Alpha 7's medical bay had closed after a plague outbreak killed 40 patients. Without human doctors, the alien medical staff could not stop diseases they had never seen before. Vexhai pressed a button on his desk. Get me Representative Thizes now. The ancient Eridani appeared on his screen within minutes. Her metal face looked tired. Vexhai, I suppose you have read the reports? This is worse than we thought, Vexhai said. How could we not know humans? We're so important? Because we did not want to know, Dices replied. I have been studying what humans really did for us. The results are disturbing. Dices had spent 2 years investigating what she called the human gap. Every problem that had appeared since humans left could be traced back to something humans used to handle. Tell me, Vexhai said, humans were not just workers, Vexhai. They were problem solvers? When our technologies did not work together, humans found ways to make them work. When our species could not understand each other, humans translated not just words but ideas. Dices pulled up files on her computer. Look at this. The HFY and Orcs have been trying to build a joint research station for 3 years. They cannot agree on basic design because they think so differently. Before, humans would have built a bridge between their ideas. Now the project is dead. What about our military? Vexhai asked. Worse than you know. Humans did not just fight our wars, they planned them. Human tactical minds could think like our enemies because they understood violence in ways we do not. Without them, we have lost every major battle this year. Vexhai felt sick, but surely we can learn to do these things ourselves. Dices was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that chilled Vexhai to his bones. There's something else, something much worse. I found classified files about projects humans were running that we never knew about. What kind of projects? Defense projects, secret ones. Humans were protecting us from threats we did not even know existed. Dices sent him a file. Vexhai opened it and his forearms began to shake. The void sectors? He whispered. Human monitoring. Stations watched for machine entities that live in dead space. These machines eat entire star systems. Humans kept them away from our space for decades. Vexhai kept reading. Devourers? What are devourers? Creatures that exist partly outside our reality. They consume matter and energy by changing the laws of physics around them. Human scientists built quantum barriers to keep them contained. Temporal anomalies? Time storms that can erase star systems from history. Human research teams studied them and learned how to predict and avoid them. Vexhai dropped the file. Why did humans never tell us about these things? Because they knew we would panic. Or worse, we would try to take control and make things worse. Are these threats still contained? Tice's metal face showed no emotion, but her voice was grim. The monitoring stations went dark 6 months ago. The quantum barriers are failing, the research teams are gone. Vexhai stood up so fast he knocked over his chair. We must contact the humans immediately, I tried. All human space is blocked. No communications get through. No ships are allowed to enter. Then we send a full diplomatic mission. We demand to speak with them. I tried that too. 3 council ships approached the human border last month. They were escorted back by a single human patrol vessel. The message was simple. You made your choice. Vexhai began pacing around his office. His mind was racing with panic. What about our spies, our intelligence networks? Gone, all our best. Intelligence came from humans who had contacts throughout the galaxy. Without them, we are blind. On Lumina Prime, Trade Minister Luzaya stared at empty shipping schedules. Her beautiful crystal body was dim with stress. How many routes are still safe? She asked her assistant. 12 out of 47, Minister. The rest are controlled by pirates or worse things. Luzaya felt her light flicker with despair. The Lumina economy was built on trade. Without safe shipping routes, her people would starve. What about hiring other species for protection? We tried. The Draconic Assembly wants triple our old prices. The Korthak ships are too slow. The HFY refused to fight at all. And the route? Through the spiral arm? Her assistant's crystal body went completely dark for a moment. Minister, 3 ships tried that route last week. They found ... thing. The ships came back, but the crews were changed. They speak in numbers now, and they keep building machines from ship parts, Luzaya shuddered. The spiral arm had always been dangerous. Human patrol ships used to keep the worst things contained there. On Korthak's central hive, the collective mind was fracturing. For the first time in their species' history, parts of the hive could not agree with each other. The problem was stress. The Korthak's hive mind worked perfectly when everything was stable, but with trade failing, defenses crumbling and unknown threats appearing, too much conflict filled their shared thoughts. Individual Korthaks began acting on their own. Some refused to follow hive orders. Others became violent when their ideas were rejected. The perfect unity that had made them strong was breaking apart. Queen Mind Vextailor spoke through her chosen body to the emergency council session. The hive is sick. We need the humans back. The humans will not answer our calls, replied the Equerry delegate. We must solve this ourselves. We cannot solve this ourselves, Vextailor said. We tried. Everything gets worse. Minister Keth of the Draconic Assembly spread his wings in anger. We are a proud species. We do not beg former servants for help. Pride will not save us when the galaxy burns, Dizes said quietly. She stood up and activated the main display screen. Images appeared showing destruction across council space. This is Sector 15. Pirates control all space lanes. This is research. Station Beta, abandoned after a plague we could not cure. This is the Outer Rim. 3 colonies have gone completely silent. More images appeared. Mining operations shut down. Defense networks failing. Unknown entities appearing in previously safe space. The council members stared at the images in growing horror. How long do we have? Asked the Lumina representative. Dizes called up another file. Computer analysis suggests complete economic collapse within 1 year. Military defeat within 18 months. Possible extinction within 5 years. The council chamber filled with frightened voices in a dozen languages. There must be something we can do, Vexhai said desperately. There is one option, Dizes replied. We can try to enter human space uninvited. With what? Our fleets are scattered and weak. Not to attack. To surrender. The chamber fell silent. Surrender. Minister Keth sounded shocked. We throw ourselves on human mercy. We admit we were wrong. We beg them to save us. And if they refuse? Dizes looked around the chamber at the representatives of 12 failing civilizations. Then we die with our pride intact. Vexhai slumped in his chair. 2 years ago, he had felt so proud removing the primitive humans from the council. Now he realized they had not removed a problem. They had removed their salvation. What if we offered them everything? Full council membership, equal voting rights, leadership positions. Why would they want those things? Dizes asked. They tried. Being partners with us, we treated them like servants. Why would they trust us again? Because they are human. They help others. It is what they do. Dizes activated her personal computer and showed them a recording. It was Ambassador Elena Vasquez's final words to the council 2 years ago. You will not see us again, they warned us, Dizes said. We chose not to listen. In the depths of space, automatic sensors detected movement in the void sectors. Machine entities that had slept for centuries were waking up. They sensed that. Their watchers were gone. In the Devourer containment zone, quantum barriers flickered and failed. Reality-warping creatures began to test the walls of their prison. In the temporal research lab, now abandoned and dark, time storms began forming without anyone to predict or stop them. The galaxy's invisible guardians were gone, and their enemies were stirring. On Earth, Admiral Chun watched the same sensor readings with grim satisfaction. His aide brought him the latest intelligence reports. The council space is falling apart faster than we predicted, the aide reported. Good, sir. Some of our people are asking if we should help. The casualties could reach billions. Admiral Chun was quiet for a long moment. He thought about all the times humans had died protecting alien worlds. All the times human innovations had been stolen without credit. All the times human workers had been treated like tools instead of people. No, he said finally. They wanted to rule their own galaxy. Let them rule it. And when they come begging, they will come begging. And we will remind them that they chose this. The silence was growing deeper. And in that silence, ancient horrors were beginning to wake. The emergency alarm screamed through the council chambers as Representative Theises ran toward the main screen. Her metal feet clanged against the floor. Behind her, the other council members followed in panic. "What is it?" Prime Minister HFY shouted over the noise. Theises activated the display. The screen showed a sector of space that used to be empty. Now it was filled with massive black shapes moving between the stars. "Machine entities from the void sectors," Theises said. Her voice was calm, but her hands shook. "They have broken through the containment zone." The shapes on the screen were enormous. Each one was the size of a moon, made of dark metal that seemed to absorb light. They moved through space like hungry animals hunting for food. "How many?" asked Minister Keth. 17 confirmed, more coming. Vexhai felt sick. "What do they want?" "Everything." "They consume star systems, turn planets into more machines." The humans called them the Metal Plague. "Where are they going?" Theises touched the screen and red lines appeared, showing the path of the machines, straight toward the core worlds. "They will reach Lumina Prime in 6 days. The Lumina representative, Luziah, made a sound like breaking crystal. 6 days? Can we stop them? With what? Our fleets are scattered. Our weapons were designed to fight other species, not these things. The humans fought them before, Vexhai said desperately. How did they do it? Theises pulled up old files. Quantum torpedoes, electromagnetic pulse weapons, coordinated fleet tactics, technologies we do not have and strategies we do not understand. Before anyone could respond, another alarm joined the first, a different tone, deeper and more frightening. Now what? Minister Keth spread his wings in fear. A new section of the screen lit up. This time it showed space itself twisting and bending like water. Reality was breaking apart in spiral patterns. Devourers, Theises whispered. The quantum barriers have completely failed. The twisting areas of space grew larger as they watched. Where the Devourers passed, stars simply disappeared. Not destroyed, erased as if they had never existed. How many star systems? Vexhai asked. 4 gone completely. 8 more showing signs of reality failure. The Korthak's queen mind spoke through her chosen body. The hive is screaming. We can feel the wrongness of those things even from here. It will get worse, Theises said. Devourers grow stronger as they feed. Soon they will be able to erase entire sectors of space. A third alarm started. This one made a sound like crying. Let me guess, Minister Keth said bitterly. More bad news. Temporal anomaly forming in Sector 12, Theises confirmed. Time storm Category 5. The screen showed space where time itself was moving wrong. Some areas aged 1,000,000 years in seconds. Others moved so slowly that light took hours to travel a few meters. The research station that monitored these storms has been abandoned for 2 years, Theises explained. No one knew this one was forming until it was too late. Vexhai collapsed into his chair. 3 extinction-level threats at the same time. And we have no idea how to fight any of them. The humans did, Theises said quietly. For decades, they protected us from all of this, and we never even knew. Minister Keth stood up, his dragon-like face twisted with rage. This is their fault. They should have told us about these threats. Why? Theises turned to face him. So you could take credit for stopping them? So you could demand control of their defense systems? So you could call them primitive while they died protecting you? We are the council. We should have been informed. We are not the council anymore, Theises said. We are refugees on a dying galaxy. And the only species that could save us will not even answer our calls. The Aquari delegate raised one of his tentacles. Perhaps if we approached them differently. If we sent a small ship, showed proper respect. We tried that, Vexhai said. They turned us away at the border. Then we sent someone they might listen to, the Aquari continued. Someone who worked with humans before. All eyes turned to Theises. She had spent more time studying humans than anyone else on the council. You want me to beg the species we exiled? To save the species that exiled them, she said. Yes, Thyses was quiet for a long moment, then she nodded. I will try. But I do not think it will work. 3 days later, Tice's small ship approached the border of human space. She traveled alone. In a simple courier vessel. No weapons, no escort, no signs of official council authority. At the border, a human patrol ship appeared as if from nowhere. It was sleek and silver, clearly built with technology far beyond what the council had seen before. Unidentified vessel. You are entering restricted space, came a voice over the radio. Turn back immediately. This is Representative Thyses of the Eridani people. I request permission to speak with human authorities. Denied. All council species are forbidden from entering human space. Please, my people are dying. The galaxy is dying. We need help. You should have thought of that before voting to expel humanity from the council. Thyses felt desperate. On her scanner, she could see more human ships appearing, dozens of them, surrounding her small vessel. I know we were wrong, she said. I know we treated humans badly. But billions of innocent people will die if you do. Not help us. Billions of innocent humans died protecting your people. You never cared about them. You are right. We were selfish and stupid. But please, not everyone voted to remove humans. There are good people in council space who do not. Deserve to die. The radio was silent for several minutes. Then a new voice spoke. Older, calmer, but with steel underneath. Representative Thyses, this is Admiral Chun of the Human Defense Force. I remember you. Admiral Chun, yes, we met several times when I served on the Defense Committee. You were one of the few council members who ever asked for human opinions. Instead of just human muscle, I tried to understand. I failed, but I tried. Why should we help you now? Thyses looked at her scanner. The machine entities were less than 2 days from Lumina Prime. The Devourers had erased 6 more star systems. The time storm was growing larger. Because you are human, she said finally. Because helping others is what you do. Even when others do not deserve it. Admiral Chun was quiet for a long moment. You are asking us to risk human lives to save people who called us primitive savages. Yes. You are asking us to share our technology with species that stole our research and claimed it as their own. Yes, you are asking us to forgive species that used us as tools and threw us away when they thought they did not need us anymore. Yes. And, what do we get in return? Thyses had prepared for this question. She had authorization from the Emergency Council to offer anything humans wanted. Everything. Full council membership with equal voting rights, access to all our technologies, ownership of any worlds you choose, leadership positions in all major decisions. We do not want any of those things. The answer surprised Thyses. What do you want? Nothing from you. We have built our own civilization. We do not need or want anything the council has to offer. Then why are you talking to me instead of just sending me away? Because I am curious about something. If we refuse to help, what will you do? Thyses thought about her dying civilization, about the billions of people who would die in the next few weeks, about the end of everything she had ever known. We will fight as best we can, we will probably fail, we will die, and then the threats will keep growing. Eventually, they will spread beyond council space. They will find human space. And you will have to fight them alone. Admiral Chun made a sound that might have been laughter. Do you think we have not considered that possibility? What do you mean? Look around you, Representative. Really look. Thyses checked her scanners more carefully. The human ships surrounding her were not just patrol vessels, they were warships. Massive ones armed with weapons she did not recognize. You have been preparing for war. We have been preparing for everything. The machine entities, the Devourers, the time storms, and a dozen other threats you do not even know about yet. We have been preparing for 4 years. Then you can stop them? We can stop some of them, maybe all of them, but it will cost human lives, and you will not pay that cost to save us. Why should we? You made it clear that human lives have no value to you. Thyses felt tears forming in her ancient eyes. Because we were wrong. Because we learned too late that we needed you. Because some mistakes should be forgiven? The radio was silent for several minutes. When Admiral Chun spoke again, his voice was different, sadder. Representative Theises, you personally never voted to expel humanity. You argued against it in committee meetings. You tried to convince others that we were valuable partners, yes. For that reason I will make you an offer, not to the council. To you personally, what offer? Bring your family and anyone else you care about to the border. We will give them sanctuary. They will be safe in human space, and everyone else chose their leaders. Those leaders chose to exile us. Let them live with the consequences of their choice. Theises felt her heart break. I cannot abandon my people. Then you choose to die with them. That is your right. The human patrol ship began to move away. Wait, Theises called. What if the council formally surrendered? What if we gave up all authority and asked humans to rule us? Admiral Chun's laugh was cold and bitter. Rule you, Representative Theises? We do not want to rule species that. 7 years had passed since humanity left the council. The galaxy was dying. Only 3 council species remained alive. The Zelathi, the Eridani, and a few scattered Lumina survivors huddled together on one heavily defended space station called Last Hope. Everyone else was gone. The machine entities had consumed 47 star systems, turning them into more machines. The Devourers had erased entire sectors of space from reality. Time storms raged across what used to be the most civilized part of the galaxy. Representative Theises stood on the observation deck of Last Hope Station, looking out at the darkness where the Aquari homeworld used to be. Nothing remained there now, not even empty space. The Devourers had eaten the very idea that anything had ever existed there. The final ships are loaded, reported Captain Zex Kai, one of the last Zelathi officers. His purple skin had turned gray with stress and exhaustion. Behind them, thousands of aliens crowded into the last working starships. Families clutched their few remaining belongings. Children cried in languages that would soon be extinct. Old beings stared with empty eyes at the end of everything they had ever known. How many? Theises asked. 12,000 survivors, that is all that is left of 12 civilizations. Theises felt the weight of those numbers. Billions had died. Entire species had been wiped out, all because the council had been too proud to keep their protectors. And our destination? The border of human space? It is the only place left that is safe. Theises nodded. They were going to beg, not as proud representatives of the Galactic Council, but as refugees carrying the last remnants of their people. The small fleet of survival ships left Last Hope Station and began the journey to human space. Behind them, the station's defense systems finally failed. Machine entities swarmed over it like metal insects, breaking it apart for raw materials. 3 days later, the refugee fleet reached the border. It was different now. A massive wall of energy stretched across space, separating human territory from the chaos beyond. Through the barrier, they could see human ships patrolling in perfect formation. The barrier itself was beautiful and terrifying. It sparkled with colors that had no names, bending space and time to create an absolute boundary. Nothing could pass through it without human permission. Human Defense Force, this is Refugee Fleet Designation Alpha 7, Theises spoke into the communications array. We request sanctuary. The response came quickly. Refugee Fleet, you are not authorized to enter human space. Please state your intentions. We are the last survivors of the Galactic Council. We come to surrender. There was a long pause, then a different voice spoke. Theises recognized it immediately. Representative Theises, this is Admiral Elena Vasquez. I remember you, Elena Vasquez, the last human ambassador to the Council. The woman who had walked away 7 years ago with such calm dignity, Admiral Vasquez. Yes, I remember our final meeting. You told me then that humans were too primitive for the Council, that we could not be trusted with civilized governance. Theises closed her eyes. I was wrong. You were. What do you want now? Mercy. The communication channel was silent for several minutes. When Admiral Vasquez spoke again, her voice was careful and controlled. Mercy for whom? For everyone. The 12,000 survivors in our fleet. The last remnants of civilizations that once ruled the galaxy. The same civilizations that voted to expel humanity? Most of these people never voted for anything. They were citizens, not leaders. Children who were born after humans left. Refugees who had no voice in council decisions. Another pause. And what about you, Representative Theises? You had a voice? You had a vote? Theises thought back to that final council session 7 years ago. She had been one of only 2 members to vote against expelling humanity, but she had not fought hard enough. She had not spoken loud enough. I voted to keep humans in the council. But I did not do enough to prevent your exile. I failed my people, and I failed yours. Why should we care about your failure now? Theises looked around at the refugee ships filled with the last survivors of galactic civilization. Families with nowhere to go. Children who had never known war before the machines came. Old beings who had lost everything they ever loved. Because you are human, she said. Because helping others is who you are, even when those others do not deserve it. We helped you for centuries. We died for you. We bled for you. And you threw us away when you thought you did not need us anymore. Yes, we did. Why should we make that mistake again? Theises felt tears on her metal cheeks. Because someone has to break the cycle. Someone has to choose mercy over justice. Someone has to be better than we were. The communication channel went quiet for a long time. The refugee fleet waited at the barrier, tiny and helpless before the wall of human power. Finally, Admiral Vasquez spoke again. You may approach the barrier. 1 ship only. Weapons powered down. Any hostile action will result in the destruction of your entire fleet. Understood? Theises took a small shuttle to the barrier. As she got closer, she could see the human ships more clearly. They were magnificent. Sleek and powerful, built with technology that was decades ahead of anything the Council had ever achieved. The barrier opened, just enough to let her shuttle through. Immediately, 6 human warships surrounded her. She was escorted to a massive space station that hung like a silver moon in human space. The station was beautiful. Clean lines, elegant curves, and a feeling of calm order that the galaxy had not known for years. Through the windows, Theises could see human civilians walking in gardens that bloomed with flowers from a dozen worlds. She was brought to a conference room, where Admiral Vasquez waited. The woman had changed. She was older, with gray in her dark hair. But her eyes were the same, intelligent, measured, and very tired. Representative Theises, please sit. Theises sat across from the woman who had once been humanity's voice to the galaxy. Between them was a simple table and 7 years of history. You look well, Theises said. I am. We all are. Humanity has thrived since leaving the Council. I can see that. Your technology has advanced remarkably. When we stopped sharing our discoveries with species that would not share back, we progressed. Much faster, Theises nodded. We used you, I understand that now. Do you? Because I am not sure you understand what you really cost us. Admiral Vasquez activated a display screen. Images appeared showing human soldiers, scientists, doctors, and engineers. These are some of the humans who died protecting Council space. Dr. James Park, killed defending a Lumina colony from pirates. Commander Sarah Kim, lost fighting machine. Entities in the void sectors. Lieutenant Maria Santos, died containing a Devourer breach. More images appeared, hundreds of them. They died for species that saw them as expendable. Their families were told their sacrifices were necessary for galactic peace. But you never honored them. You never even remembered their names. Theises stared at the faces on the screen. Young humans who had given their lives for aliens who barely considered them people. I am sorry. Sorry does not bring them back. Sorry does not undo 7 years of consequences. No, it does not, but it is all I have to offer. Admiral Vasquez turned off the display. Tell me about the survivors in your fleet. 12,000 people, mostly civilians. Some are elderly Eridani who remember when the galaxy was peaceful. Some are Zelathi children who have never known anything but war. A few hundred Lumina refugees who lost everything when their homeworld was consumed. And the council leaders who voted to expel us? Dead, all of them. Prime Minister Vexhai died when the machines overran Zelethi Prime. Minister Keth was erased by devourers along with his entire species. The others fell one by one as the galaxy burned. Good. The simple word hung in the air like a blade. Vyses felt the cold weight of human judgment. What will you do with us? She asked. Admiral Vasquez was quiet for a long moment. She stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the peaceful human space beyond. We have discussed this for weeks. There are many opinions among my people. And what are those opinions? Some believe we should help you. They say it is the human thing to do to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And the others? Others believe helping you would be a betrayal of every human who died protecting species that did not value human life. Admiral Vasquez turned back to face Vyses. But there is a third option, one that most of my people support. What option? We save the children. Vyses felt something cold grip her heart. What do you mean? The adults in your fleet made choices, or supported leaders who made choices. They bear responsibility for the consequences. But the children did not choose anything. They deserve a chance at life. You would separate families? We would offer families a choice. Adults who want to stay with their children can do so. But they will live in human space under human rules. They will be guests, not citizens. They will have no voice in human decisions and no claim to human resources beyond basic survival needs. And those who refuse will be given supplies and fuel to go wherever they wish. But they cannot stay at our border, and they cannot enter our space. Vyses felt the terrible weight of the choice. Accept human charity and live as refugees in the space of their former servants, or face the dying galaxy with dignity intact. How much time do we have to decide? 1 hour.